House of the Dragon Episode 6 is set 10 years after the previous episode, so Rhaenyra and Alicent, Laena and Laenor are now played by different actors. Rhaenyra now has 3 children, Jacaerys called Jace, Lucerys called Luke, and now baby Joffrey. The father of these children is officially her husband, Laena Velaryon, but really the father is Harwin Strong. Alicent has 3 children with her husband, King Viserys, called Aegon, Helaena, and Aemond. And Daemon Targaryen has now married Laena Velaryon, and they have 2 daughters, twins, called Baela and Rhaena. All of these new kids are represented symbolically in the opening sequence family tree. So, in this episode, Rhaenyra and Alicent's conflict is passed down to their children. Tensions rise, and there are 3 deaths by fire. So what happens, and what does it mean? This video has no spoilers for Hot D beyond episode 6. We see Rhaenyra giving birth, and she looks a lot like her mother, Aemma. Aemma once told Rhaenyra that she would give birth one day, and Rhaenyra never wanted to get married and squeeze out heirs, but she had to marry Laenor for a political alliance, and as heir to the throne, she needs heirs of her own. So her baby Joffrey is born, and a midwife says he's so healthy he's kicking like a goat, which is a bit ominous because later we see a goat get killed by a dragon. Queen Alicent wants to see Rhaenyra's baby right away, so despite Rhaenyra's pain and discomfort, she makes a humiliating walk through court, while her husband Laenor says some unhelpful things like, "Did it hurt?" and "I'm glad I'm not a woman." And Laenor sees Criston Cole. Last episode, 10 years ago, Criston killed Laenor's boyfriend, Joffrey Lonmouth, at Laenor's wedding. Alicent has apparently protected Criston from punishment, so Laenor has just had to put up with seeing his boyfriend's murderer every day. Laenor names Rhaenyra's baby Joffrey in honor of Joffrey Lonmouth. King Viserys looks very old and weak. He is now missing an arm, because his arm was affected by some leprosy-like disease. But Viserys is happy to meet his new grandson. Viserys says Joffrey has Laenor's nose, which is funny because Joffrey and Jace and Luke look nothing like Laenor. Rhaenyra's sons don't have Laenor's silver hair or his darker skin, they have dark hair and pale skin like their real father, Harwin Strong. This is why Alicent wanted to see Rhaenyra's baby, to check if it looks like Laenor or Harwin. Alicent tells Laenor, "Do keep trying, you may get one who looks like you." It's a big deal that Rhaenyra's sons are Harwins, because that means that these kids are illegitimate bastards, and legally, bastards don't inherit like true-born children do. So, arguably, Alicent's children should be in line to the throne, not Rhaenyra's kids. Rhaenyra and Harwin's royal adultery could destabilize the kingdom. It's like in Game of Thrones, when Cersei has bastards with Jaime, instead of having true-born kids with her husband, King Robert. This secret could cause war. Rhaenyra leaves a trail of blood behind her from her childbirth. Like the blood in the opening sequence, this evokes both life and death, the generations of birth and violence that royal bloodlines are made of. Rhaenyra shows Joffrey to his real father, Harwin Strong. Harwin is now the commander of the City Watch Goldcloaks, and it seems like he and Rhaenyra and Laenor are all pretty comfortable with this secret affair. Harwin is a father figure to the kids, Laenor is supportive, Rhaenyra and Harwin are affectionate. It would all be pretty wholesome if this secret wasn't so dangerous. Rhaenyra says insolence runs in the family. Rhaenyra has always enjoyed breaking rules, so this secrecy and rebellion seems to be fun for her. Their sons, Jace and Luke, choose a dragon egg to go in Joffrey's cradle, as is tradition, so that Joffrey will bond with the dragon if it hatches. Then, Jace and Luke go to the dragon pit for their dragon lessons, alongside Alicent's sons, Aegon and Aemond. Jace learns to control his dragon Vermax, using commands in the Valyrian language. He says Dohaeris, meaning serve, which we have heard before in the phrase Vala Dohaeris. Then he says Dracarys, dragon flame, to command Vermax to kill a goat. So, on one level, this scene is fun and light-hearted as the boys bond with magical creatures like it's Hogwarts. But on another level, this scene is really dark, because dragons are deadly weapons of war that have killed thousands of people in recent history, and now these children are taught to use these dangerous beasts. Previously, Viserys said that the idea that we control the dragons is an illusion. Today, the dragons kill goats, but soon they could bring doom to humans. So, Jace has the dragon Vermax, Luke has a dragon called Arax, Aegon has Sunfire, and Helaena has Dreamfire. Rhaenyra and Laenor and most everyone else have their own dragons. But Aemond doesn't have a dragon. Maybe the dragon egg in his cradle didn't hatch. So the boys make fun of Aemond. They give him a pig and call it the Pink Dread, like how Balerion was called the Black Dread. Aemond is hurt and angry, so Aemond sneaks down into the pit, maybe hoping to claim a dragon for himself. He faces a dragon, which might be Helena's dragon Dreamfire, because it's one of the bigger, older dragons, but Aemond gets scared and runs off. Apparently, he's done this before. Alicent says Aemond is obsessed with dragons. Dragons are an important symbol of power and identity for a Targaryen. So, will Aemond ever get a dragon, and what kind of person will he become? Alicent sees her daughter Helaena, and Helaena is a weirdo who loves bugs. The official guide says Helaena is deeply fascinated with insects, and has a vested interest in their relationship to humans and the environment. It says that Helaena rarely rides her dragon Dreamfire, and that she often speaks in cryptic language. Helaena says that a millipede is blind, and blindness is a theme this episode, like how Viserys is willfully blind to Rhaenyra's affair with Harwin. Helaena also says something about Aemond that foreshadows what will happen next episode. So maybe Helaena has dreams of the future like Viserys does. Her dragon is named Dreamfire. This weird bug girl could be a source of magic prophecies. Alicent seems confused and annoyed with her dragon-obsessed son and her bug-obsessed daughter. Alicent's actor said that Alicent's children are all fucking weird. She goes to Viserys and blames Jace and Luke for the pig incident, even though she knows that Aegon was also to blame. She turns a blind eye to that. Alicent wants to protect her children and wants to undermine Rhaenyra's bastards. Alicent tries to make Viserys admit that Rhaenyra's sons are obviously Harwin Strong's kids, not Laenor's, because of their dark hair and pale skin. But Viserys says genetics can be weird. Sometimes blonde people have dark-haired kids, which is a fair point. Laenor's grandma Jocelyn was a Baratheon with black hair, and as we learned in Game of Thrones, the seed is strong. Children of Baratheons almost always have black hair. In the books, Jocelyn's daughter Rhaenys has black hair, so maybe Rhaenys' grandkids, Jace, Luke, and Joff, could have black hair, even though Laenor has silver hair. Who knows? But Alicent keeps pushing, so Viserys reveals his real reasoning. Viserys won't admit that Rhaenyra's kids are bastards because that would cause conflict. People would question Rhaenyra and Jace's claim to the throne, and would want Aegon as heir instead, so his family could be torn apart by war. So instead of addressing this problem, Viserys chooses to not see the truth, hoping that if he continues to do nothing, everything will eventually be fine, despite growing evidence that nothing is fine and the conflict's getting worse. Alicent is frustrated. She feels like she's being gaslit when everyone pretends that Rhaenyra's kids aren't bastards, when they clearly are. And she's angry that Rhaenyra flaunts her privilege without shame. Because this is not just a political issue for Alicent, she has a personal grudge against Rhaenyra. Alicent resents Rhaenyra for breaking the rules and doing what she wants, while Alicent has always followed the rules and done her duty. While Rhaenyra has hot, forbidden sex with the handsome Sir Harwin, Alicent is loyal to her decrepit and leprous husband Viserys. Alicent is envious and furious at this injustice, and Alicent still feels betrayed that Rhaenyra lied to her and got her father Otto removed as Hand of the King. As a proper religious woman, Alicent sees Rhaenyra's adultery as a grievous sin, and that as bastards, her children are unfit to rule. Many Westerosi believe that bastards are treacherous by nature, there's evil in their blood. Alicent believes that by opposing Rhaenyra, she's standing up for truth, honor, and decency. Like when Ned Stark stands up against Cersei and her lies about her bastards. Alicent sees herself as the hero. Criston also hates Rhaenyra. He calls her a spider who sucks her prey dry. Criston feels that Rhaenyra used him for sex, breaking his Kingsguard chastity oath, and feels rejected that she didn't run away with him. Criston's whole identity and honor as a Kingsguard was tarnished. He almost committed suicide, and he blames Rhaenyra for all of that. So, Alicent and Criston have bonded over their shared hatred for Rhaenyra, and are determined to bring down their former friend. Alicent visits her other weird child. She finds Aegon masturbating out a window, and apparently this is normal behavior for him, because Alicent doesn't even react. Instead, she brings up the pig incident, and she's angry that Aegon bullied Aemond in public. She says it's fine for Aegon to bully Aemond at home, which is great parenting, but she says that in public, Aegon and Aemond must stand together, because Rhaenyra and her sons are a threat. Rhaenyra may want to kill Aegon to secure her throne, which is the same thing Otto told Alicent last episode. Aegon doesn't really want the throne, but Alicent says he will be king whether he likes it or not. So Alicent drags her son into her conflict. It's similar to when Cersei tells Joffrey that the Starks are their enemies. So Alicent has similarities with both the villainous Cersei and with the honourable Ned Stark. This is a morally complicated conflict. Criston Cole teaches the boys to fight. Aegon would rather be perving on girls, but again the adults push the children towards violence. Aegon and Aemond wear green, like their mother's green dress, while Jace and Luke wear Targaryen black and red. Viserys hopes that training together will make the boys friends, but Criston pits Rhaenyra's kids and Alicent's kids against each other. Criston wants to prove the truth about Jace and Luke's parentage, so when Harwin drops by, Criston provokes Harwin by implying that Harwin is their father, until Harwin snaps and attacks Criston. It's like when Criston attacked Joffrey Lonmouth when his secret was threatened. Criston sees this reaction as public proof that Rhaenyra's sons are Harwin's bastards. It's getting harder to hide the dangerous truth. Rhaenyra uses a secret passage in the Red Keep to listen to Harwin arguing with his father Lionel. Lionel says Harwin's treasonous adultery with Rhaenyra could get him and his children killed or exiled. So while Rhaenyra is stressed over the danger to her family and her body is still recovering from childbirth, her husband Laenor bursts in drunk and says unhelpful things about her breasts. Laenor is excited that there's new fighting in the Stepstones. Laenor had fun last time he went to war there, now he wants to go back for fun and profit. Rhaenyra criticizes Laenor for partying while their family is in danger. She says it is their agreement that Laenor can do what he wants while Rhaenyra does what and who she wants, but now that people are questioning her son's parentage, she commands Laenor to stay by her side. Laenor tries to say that this marriage has been hard for him too, but Rhaenyra shuts him down. So Rhaenyra and Laenor's relationship is not going great, but they stick together as the storm gathers around them. We see a small council meeting. Rhaenyra and Alicent are present as the heir and the queen. Orwyle seems to be the new Grand Maester to replace Melos, so maybe Melos has died. Previously, Orwyle suggested some different treatments for Viserys' sickness, so now that Orwyle has taken over, maybe his treatments are the reason why Viserys is still alive 10 years later. The books do suggest that Viserys gets better because of Orwyle's treatments. What we don't know is whether Melos was deliberately making Viserys sick as part of a conspiracy with Otto, or if Melos was just a crappy doctor. Now that Larys Strong is hand, there's a new Master of Laws called Jasper Wild. Jasper is nicknamed Iron Rod because he's so strict and hard. though in the books, Mushroom claims that he's called Iron Rod because of the stiffness of his penis. Iron Rod had 29 children on 4 wives until the last one died of exhaustion. Tywin Lannister is still master of ships, and Lyman Beesbury is still master of coin, though he's getting old and confused. The council discuss a land dispute between House Blackwood and House Bracken. These families have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We saw a Blackwood kill a Bracken previously. The Blackwoods and Brackens are both ruled by their overlords, House Tully. They mention that Lord Grover Tully is old, so his son rules for him. In the books, Grover's grandson is called Elmo Tully, and Elmo has kids called Kermit and Oscar. Author George Martin named these characters after Muppets. Alicent and Rhaenyra have different opinions on how to deal with these Muppets, and they contradict each other, passive-aggressively. Rhaenyra knows she's in danger from this conflict with Alicent, so she tries to make peace. She apologizes for any offense, and reminds Alicent of when they were friends, and she proposes for Alicent's daughter Helaena to marry her son and heir Jacaerys, so that Jace and Helaena can rule Westeros together after Rhaenyra. She also offers dragon eggs, so maybe Aemond can finally get a dragon. Rhaenyra's grand proposal is undermined when milk leaks from her breasts at the worst possible moment. Rhaenyra's actor says Rhaenyra is at odds with her gender, and is frustrated with the limitations and indignities of womanhood. Viserys is excited at this opportunity for peace and unity in his family, but Alicent refuses the proposal, says not till she's cold in her grave. Alicent doesn't want to marry her only daughter to Rhaenyra's bastard. She wants to reveal the truth, that Rhaenyra's kids are illegitimate, and that her own kids are the rightful heirs. So Alicent sticks to the truth and the rules, but she also prolongs a dangerous conflict, partly because of her own personal grudge against Rhaenyra. Alicent looks after Viserys. With their age gap, Viserys looks more like Alicent's grandpa than her husband. Sick and weak, Viserys increasingly follows Alicent's lead. Lionel Strong tries to resign as Hand of the King. Lionel knows his family is in danger because of Harwin's affair with Rhaenyra, so he wants to get as far away from court as possible for safety. Alicent tries to get Lionel to admit that the affair is true, but Lionel refuses to say why he's resigning, so Viserys refuses to accept his resignation, and just allows Lionel to take Harwin to Harrenhal. Alicent is left infuriated with these farcical lies and bullshit. Alicent has dinner with Larys Strong, the son of Lionel and brother of Harwin. Larys is apparently now a spy master for Alicent, telling her about happenings in the keep. We still don't know how Larys gets his information, whether it's spies or secret passages or magically controlling rats as a greenseer. But we see Alicent's maid Talia a few times this episode, and Talia even has an entry on the official guide website, so maybe Talia is Larys and Alicent's spy. Alicent says she wishes her father Otto was still Hand of the King, because he would support her in this conflict with Rhaenyra. But Otto can't be the Hand while Lionel Strong is the Hand, so Larys decides to murder his own father. Larys visits the dungeons. In the books, Larys works as the confessor, or torturer, here. He gets some prisoners and cuts out their tongues, so that he can use them to commit crimes, and they can't blab or reveal that Larys was behind it. It's like how Varys removes the tongues of his child spies in the books. As these screaming men are mutilated, Larys smiles mildly. Most of the characters in this show are morally grey, but it's increasingly clear that Larys is straight up evil, a murderer and manipulator without remorse. Harwin Strong leaves for Harrenhal, and farewells his secret lover and his children. Jace asks Rhaenyra if Harwin is his real father, and Rhaenyra doesn't tell him. She just says that he's a Targaryen because he's her son. It can really mess a kid up to not know their family and identity, especially in this world where parentage and bloodline are everything. Jace is old enough to know that bastards are widely hated in Westeros, So how will he and his brothers handle their identity? How will they feel about Harwin and Laenor? Is blood everything, or does adoptive family matter too? Maybe Laenor can be a real father to the boys, like how Ned Stark was a father to Jon Snow. With Harwin gone, Rhaenyra decides to leave King's Landing. She tried making peace with Alicent, and Alicent refused. The rumours of her affair are getting too dangerous, so she goes to Dragonstone, the ancestral Targaryen island near King's Landing. Rhaenyra tells Laenor to bring his boyfriend Carl, because they will need every sword. It sounds like Rhaenyra is giving up on peace, and now expects to fight for the throne when Viserys dies. Lionel and Harwin return to their castle, Harrenhal, and they're shadowed by Larys's men. These men wear a firefly symbol, because Larys has a firefly on his walking cane. It doesn't actually make any sense to put your logo on your super-secret mute crime agents, but this shows the viewer that these are Larys's men. Larys's fireflies start a fire in Harrenhal that kills Lionel and kills Harwin. In the books, it's a mystery who burned Harrenhal. Some say Corlys did it to kill Harwin, because Harwin cuckolded Laenor. Some say Daemon burned Harwin, because Harwin was a rival for Rhaenyra's love. Some say Viserys burned Harwin to stop the rumours of Harwin and Rhaenyra's affair. But in Hot D, Larys burns Harrenhal. He kills his own father and brother in a world where kinslaying is the most terrible crime. Larys does this because with his family dead, Larys will become the new Lord of Harrenhal. And now that Lionel is dead, Otto can become Hand of the King again, like Alicent wanted. Alicent is horrified when she finds out. She didn't want Larys to murder anyone, but Larys says that he did it for her, as though Alicent is complicit in the crime. These murders tie Alicent to Larys. He has dirt on her now. He says that she owes him. Larys gives a villainous speech, saying that loving your family makes you weak. And it's true that Viserys, Rhaenyra, and Alicent all put themselves in danger for the sake of their children. Children can give you legacy, but they're also a liability. Larys chooses to live without love, so there's nothing he won't do. Larys says that people will blame his fire on the Harrenhal curse, because every family to hold Harrenhal has come to a terrible end. Harrenhal was first built by an Ironborn warlord called Harren the Black. He enslaved thousands of Riverlanders, building his monstrous castle, working people to death. There's said to be blood in the mortar. But just after Harren completed Harrenhal, Aegon the Conqueror came and burned the castle, killing Harren and his family. So then, House Cohaerys ruled Harrenhal, but the Cohaeryses were soon slaughtered by outlaws. Then House Harroway took over Harrenhal until they were wiped out by Maegor the Cruel. Then House Towers took Harrenhal, but then they went extinct. So now that House Strong has Harrenhal, no one is surprised that half the family mysteriously died in this cursed, haunted place. Meanwhile, across the Narrow Sea, Daemon Targaryen is now married to Laena Velaryon. We saw them flirting last episode, 10 years ago. In the books, Laena was betrothed to the son of the Sea Lord of Braavos at the time, so Daemon killed the Braavosi in a duel so that he could marry Laena. Daemon and Laena then went travelling in the east. They went to Pentos, Volantis, Qohor, Norvos, and Mushroom claims that they visited the ruins of Valyria. Then Daemon and Laena had twins called Baela and Rhaena. Baela is named after Daemon's father, Balon, and Rhaena is named after Laena's mother, Rhaenys. Now, Laena is pregnant again, and they're hosted in Pentos by Reggio Horatus. Reggio is the Prince of Pentos, which in the books is a mostly ceremonial position. The prince attends feasts and balls, and ritually deflowers 2 maidens each new year, and then is occasionally killed as a sacrifice to appease the gods. The real power in Pentos is held by the Magisters, rich traders like Illyrio Mopatis, who hosts Daenerys and Viserys in Game of Thrones. Slavery is officially banned in Pentos, but they keep slaves anyway and call it debt bondage. So these servants we see with Reggio might actually be slaves. Reggio wants Daemon and Laena's help because he's worried about the Triarchy. The Triarchy is the alliance of Tyrosh, Myr, and Lys who have been attacking the Stepstones. Previously, Daemon killed the leader of the Triarchy, Kragas Crabfeeder, but the Triarchy is becoming a problem again. They're now led by a flamboyant Tyroshi called Recalio Rindoon, and the Triarchy's made an alliance with Prince Corin Martell of Dorne. At this time, Dorne isn't part of Westeros. It's still its own kingdom, and has occasionally warred with Targaryen kings. Reggio is worried that the Triarchy could soon be a threat to Pentos, so he wants Daemon's family and their dragons to stay and defend Pentos. Daemon has the dragon Caraxes, Laena now has the dragon Vhagar, and their daughter Baela has a young dragon called Moondancer. We see Daemon and Laena perform an air show with Caraxes and Vhagar, and we see how massive Vhagar is. Vhagar is the biggest and oldest known creature in the world, at about 170 years old. Vhagar's first rider was Queen Visenya Targaryen, the sister wife of Aegon the Conqueror. Alongside Balerion the Black Dread and Meraxes, Vhagar burned thousands of people in Aegon's conquest. Later, Vhagar was ridden by Balon Targaryen, the father of Viserys and Daemon, and now Laena Velaryon has claimed Vhagar. We saw Laena asking about Vhagar years ago when she was a kid. Vhagar is now ancient and sleepy, like a big old dinosaur grandma, but she's still terrifying when roused, the hardened survivor of 100 battles. So Vhagar and Caraxes would be a huge help in defending Pentos. So Reggio offers them land and luxuries in Pentos if they'll stay. Laena doesn't want to stay in Pentos. She wants to raise her children at home on Driftmark, and to embrace their identity as Valyrian dragon riders. But Daemon wants to stay. Daemon's trying to run away from his feelings, away from his painful relationships with his brother Viserys and niece Rhaenyra, away from the politics and plots, and away from the constant drama that he constantly creates. Daemon tries to be content in Pentos, but it's clearly not working. Laena says Daemon doesn't sleep, he doesn't go out in Pentos, he obviously misses his family, he's always reading books about Valyria. Daemon can't escape his desires and ambitions as a Targaryen. Daemon and Laena's daughter Rhaena feels rejected and left out because she doesn't have a dragon. Her dragon egg hasn't hatched. She says Daemon spends more time with Baela, teaching her Valyrian, while Rhaena feels ignored. Laena assures Rhaena that she could still get a dragon, like how Laena got a dragon later in life. Rhaena's situation, not having a dragon, is similar to Aemon's. Laena goes into labor, but the childbirth goes badly. Like with Queen Aemma, the doctor says the mother is gonna die. They can either let the baby die with her, or cut the mother open to try to save the baby. Either way, Laena is doomed. But unlike Aemma, Laena chooses how she dies. She doesn't want to die in bed. She says she wants a dragon rider's death. So Laena goes out to her dragon Vhagar and tells Vhagar to burn her. And at first, Vhagar refuses. This shows that dragons are intelligent and have feelings and will of their own. Vhagar doesn't want to kill her master. But maybe Vhagar sees that Laena is in pain and is dying, so then Vhagar obeys and kills Laena and her unborn baby. Like Aemma, Laena dies violently, but at least Laena got to choose. Now, maybe Daemon knows how Viserys felt when his wife Aemma died. Daemon is now a single dad to Baela and Rhaena. Will he keep trying to run away from his identity and from politics, or will he fulfill Laena's wish and raise his kids at their family home? Baela and Rhaena have never been to Driftmark or King's Landing. Daemon is the only family they know. So what will be their place in the world? In the books, the year of Laena, Lionel, and Harwin's deaths is called the Year of the Red Spring. This is the year when everything started to go horribly wrong, and the year is not over yet. If you want to know the full story of Hot D, and about the history and mysteries of Westeros, you gotta check out the books. There's the main series, and Fire and Blood, and Dunk and Egg, and the World Book. And you can get any one of these on audiobook for free right now at audible.com/ASX. Sign up for a Premium Plus trial membership, and you get an audiobook to keep, even if you cancel the trial. You can get Game of Thrones, or Lord of the Rings, or Dune. Membership also includes unlimited access to thousands of audiobooks and shows in the Audible Plus catalog. Sign up at audible.com/ASX or text ASX to 500 500. Thanks for watching. We're doing a live stream and an explained video each week, so like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the podcast feeds linked below. Thank you to the patrons MaxPal, Adja Martinez, Mark Van de Sam, Heather Upton, Zach Robles, and Greg Tingus. Cheers.